Hi, this is Majinoni, and here's some comic reviews for you. We have XMen Legacy 269, Wolverine and the X-Men 12, Ultimates 12, and Amazing Spider-Man 688. I'll start this first one. Now, The Ends of the Earth was an amazing series, and I was not thinking that the way this was going to start would have been, like, fantastic. But, and it didn't end, it didn't start in a fantastic kind of way. I think this is hopefully will be a story that's going to be building over time. First of all, I have to say I really love this cover, and if there was a poster of it, I would definitely consider buying it. Now, what we have here is basically you have all the problems with the city and Horizon is pretty much over and done, except for one key thing, which is Morbius. Now, the thing is, like, what he's trying to do is basically make a cure for uh, Kurt Connors, the Lizard, but he goes about it in this very inappropriate way by stealing the remains of the sun, and which causes Spider-Man to go crazy and start beating him up a little bit until he understands what's going on. Now, I thought the fight sequence here was really good. The art is really good. I love the costume. The ripping and tearing, the eye patch thingy gone. All that was great. And it basically, the way this story ends is, I think this is where it could be really interesting, because it's going to be, I guess you can say, a different version of the Lizard slash Kurt Connors, and you can kind of get a hint of the type of writing that's going to happen, because you have this mixture of the Lizard and Kurt Connors talking at the same time, and I thought that was going to, I think that could potentially be really, really entertaining, especially if you do it in all they have to do is just make it a little twisted. If they give it a little evil twist to it, then I think it's going to be great. So I am very hopeful to see what's going to happen. And I'll give a code so one lucky person can get this book. Okay, let's talk about Ultimates number 12. Now, this is the conclusion to the big battle with Reed Richards. Now, I'm going to be careful so not to show spoilers, but basically what we have here is, see, this is the one thing I really hate about American comics, is you have this amazing setup with powerful entities. You have the Hulk, you have Thor, you have Iron Man, and you have Reed Richards, you have the city, and it's over in a few pages. And that's the letdown, because the fight between Thor and the Hulk could have been amazing. I mean, legendary, but it's over in a heartbeat. Now, the way the fight ended was cool, but at the same time, I felt like it needed more. And same thing with the Reed Richards fight. There's a guest star that comes in, and the fight is over pretty quick. And on one hand, somebody could argue, well, you know what, they're trying to make a point. And I get the point, I understand it, but when you have this huge buildup, I mean, Reed Richards did things that Doctor Doom could never do. And he really pushed himself to be this amazing villain. And it's over, like, basically, if you just blink, it's over. And that's a shame. And then, unfortunately, that's the downfall of American comics. There's a nice little twist with Tony. Not really a twist, but they added a little bit something different to Tony's character that is not in the regular Marvel universe. And even though I am harping on it, I do think that there's some really positive things in here. Like I mentioned before, the battle with the Thor and Hulk was pretty cool. The way the guest star handled Reed Richards was good. Tony's attitude, well captured. I really thought that captured his essence as the character. So there was some good things, but I wish this was like a triple-sized issue and give me more battle. And if you gave me more fight, then I would be ecstatic, and I would bow down saying this is the greatest issue that came out this week. But as it stands, I think it just ended, and it ended. At the very end, you have a returning character coming back uh, because of all the problems that are going on in the South with the mutants and the Sentinels, and it's that setting the stage for the next big story arc. Um, so overall, I'll say this was decent. It could have been better, but it was decent. Okay, Wolverine and the X-Men number 12. Now, I was really hoping for greatness, and I didn't quite get the greatness. This was a decent fight, don't get me wrong, but what's the weird thing is this fight is kind of like out of place. You know, Giant Man is with Avengers Academy. Why is he here? Beast is quit. You know, when does this thing take place? I have no idea, because you have Namor as the Phoenix Five, and they're looking for hope, you know. So, you know, it's kind of like this is where I think I look at this issue as an issue out of time. They had a great idea. Let's throw a bunch of Avengers and X-Men. Let's make them fight. We'll put some cool pictures here and there, and let's set the stage for the next part, which is basically Gladiator coming into the scene. And I look at this issue as purely fan service. Um, Instead of advancing the story, what they decided to do was give us the fights that normally Versus does. But I guess you can say this is better because you get more fighting that actually leads to something where Versus is just two people fight, one person wins, and nothing happens. So beyond that, no consequence. Now overall, um, I think there's some really good things with Kid the Gladiator. It shows how strong he is. Rachel, with her abilities, there's some really nice panels with her dealing with Thor, and there's some nice interaction between Iceman and the Beast. And so there's really some cool things that are going on here. Based on this, I really want more Kid Gladiator, because he's this little arrogant, punky kid who's actually really powerful. And also there's a good sequence with Wolverine and Kid Gladiator also. So there is a lot of strong that's in here. I just wish they funneled it in a different way. Um, Also, the other thing I'm thinking now is the way this thing has really been rolling along. I wonder how the X-Men that betrayed the team, like Wolverine and the Beast, are going to be welcomed back. Will they be welcomed back? What's going to happen to them? Um, I mean, it's going to be a weird thing. Most likely, I have a feeling what's going to happen is the Phoenix Five, obviously the Phoenix Five is going to revert back to their normal selves. They're going to go, oh my god, I was so wrong. But, because I was twisted and tormented and used. But then on the other hand, you can see where I was right and blah, 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 blah. And everybody will hold hands and eat popcorn and play baseball. So everything will be fine eventually. But overall, I guess you could say I was pleased with it, but I just wish they put a little bit more thought into where this thing takes place versus just throwing characters in there just for the sake of throwing characters. And finally, XMen Legacy. Now, this one is basically another fan servicey type book where you have, it shows how the good that the Phoenix Five was doing with the X-Men. Then you throw in the fight between Miss Marvel and Rogue, and this is the fight that longtime X-Men Avenger fans would really want to see because they have some history between them. Especially when Rogue stole Miss Marvel's abilities and stole a little bit too much, where she started to think that she was Carol for a bit, or stole the memories. So all of this part is good. But basically the gist is Carol's just coming over to Rogue going, hey, look, I think you think you need to really pay attention to what's going on, and these Phoenix Fives are going to be corrupt, and you got to keep your eye out on them. But, Rogue looks at this as an ambush and attacks, which I don't blame Rogue at all. The best part of this book is what happens at the very end. Now, this is going to be a little bit spoiler, but I think this is a spoiler where you can kind of see some things where the storyline is going rather than like earth-shattering news. Now, I'm sure you're already aware through various teasers and other things that there's a prison in Utopia, a brig that they're throwing in Avengers. Well, obviously there's some Avengers who are too powerful and they can't throw in the brig, so they have a secret location, and that secret location is courtesy of Magic. What she's done was she's brought a little bit of limbo, and that's where they're throwing the heroes that are too powerful. They're throwing them straight to hell. And I think that's a really cool concept. And in a way, it does kind of show that this is a slight twist, where they're slightly turning, maybe they're not as good as they claim they are going to be. And I think if you saw the next issue, it looks like Rogue's going to basically switch sides a little bit. So we'll see where that goes. But I do like this concept right here. I strongly believe, though, there's absolutely no writers in Marvel that can do this story justice, and this part of it's going to fail miserably, because this could be its own miniseries, but they're not going to give it the time of day to give it a good fluff story where there's action, there's and demons and craziness going on. So anyways, that's my review for that. Oh, there's no free code for that. So let's give you some free codes. Here's Spider-Man. I'll bring the code up a little bit higher. Oh, and I know that there's that Alpha Prime nonsense, and I don't know about that. I just don't know. I don't think it's going to last. There's no way that Spider-Man is going to be given a sidekick forever. But if that's a way that they can introduce a cool new character, then I'll give it a try. Alright, if you have any comments or questions, let me know. Or rate the video up or down, let me know what you think. And I'll have more reviews and stuff like that later. So, until next time.